Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Salvation of Souls podcast, the SOS podcast. Here with your host, Renee. And we're accompanied by another amazing woman of God. Her name is Cecilee, and I'm going to let her take the floor from here.
Hi guys. My name is Cecilee. I hope y'all are doing well. Happy to be here. I just want to talk a little bit about my testimony, what God has done in my life. It's been a crazy year. Literally has changed my entire life. I guess we'll just start there and get into it. So I grew up in the church. I started going to church when I was literally like popped out of the womb, went there my whole life. Church for me was kind of like a place that I had to go. And then when I was in the sixth grade, like I started taking it a little bit more seriously. And then I got baptized in seventh grade. And then I was like on fire for God until high school rolled around. And then by like the ninth, 10th grade, I was like, oh, I kind of want to like live in the world. And I wanted to do all the things of the world instead of doing the things of God. So I kind of just like flipped my perspective. I also had this perspective almost that like church wasn't for broken people, and if you had like grown up in the church, that means that you couldn't wrestle with sin or you couldn't struggle with sin. So I was kind of like, okay, I want to do all these things, which means that I then can't come back to the church. So I kind of just like removed myself from the church like completely. I still had to go on Sundays and stuff because my parents made me, but I wasn't like, definitely didn't have a relationship with God. And then getting into college, that kind of continued because I was on my own for the first time, and I was just like, like I'm good. I want to like party. I want to do all the things. I want to, talk to all the boys. And I went to like a pretty big party school. I went to Oregon State and then I went to Michigan State after that. And yeah, that was really where God started to like change my life, and he did a lot of working. So in college, I went to Michigan State, well, and Oregon State too, but I went for volleyball for both of them. And volleyball was like my entire life. It was my identity. It was my whole sense of purpose. And when I got there, I first got mono. And when I got mono, like it took me out. Like I was so sick. I was so ill. And yeah, I just remember feeling this like, I don't know who I am. Like that was one of the times in my life where I was just like, I don't know who I am if I don't have volleyball. And then if I don't have volleyball, like what's the point of living? Like why am I even here on this earth? And I really just started to like ponder some of those questions of like, what is my purpose? Why am I alive? Like what are we created to be and created to do? And I just started to wrestle with some of these questions, and I started to think about them, but I didn't really like want to then like start diving in deeper because I still wanted to push forward to volleyball. And then kind of fast forward throughout the rest of college, I battled with a lot of sickness. I had COVID probably like 4 times, and each time it took me like out. Like sometimes I was in emergencies, sometimes I was like just could not get out of bed for like weeks on end. Meanwhile, I'm trying to play volleyball. I had also 7 concussions. Like I was so depressed, I was so sick, I was rid with like anxiety, a lot of suicidal like thoughts and dreams and just all of this stuff that was just like, it was really heavy, it was really dark. And then by my junior year of college, that was like my last season of volleyball. I wasn't able to play my senior year because I had to medically retire. The doctors were like, you have too much. Like, this is not good. My grades were tanking. Like, I was in treatment every single day. I could barely even like get a sentence out. Like, I couldn't sit down and like speak to someone because I had so much like brain inflammation that like my motor skills were like deteriorating. So I ended up quitting volleyball. And when I quit volleyball, that like just shook and rocked my entire life because the other times, like even when I was out and I was injured and I was sick, I always knew that I was coming back to that identity and purpose in my life, which for me was volleyball. But then when volleyball was taken away from me, I was like, okay, who am I? Like now I really don't have an identity. I really don't have a purpose. I don't have anything to fall back on. And that's when I really started to like, I had like been partying and stuff in college, but I really went like crazy with the partying. I tried to fulfill it with everything I could, like boys, alcohol, like pretty much anything. And it just felt like I was putting like band-aid over band-aid over band-aid, and the cut just kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And that is when I kind of started to go back to church, and I just like wanted to start understanding and wrestling like, okay, God, like who are you? What is this identity? What is this purpose? Like there's a reason the church exists, and I kind of just wanted to find out a little bit more of that. So I started going back to church. Not super consistently, like, I would just go, and it definitely would, like, fill me up a little bit. I wouldn't say that it was, like, I was, like, on fire for God by any means, but it definitely did, like, start to fill me up, and, yeah, so I just kinda started going. I found a little bit of, like, just peace, not a lot of peace, but I felt like, "Okay, there's, like, something deeper here," but I wasn't ready to, like, fully explore it. I feel like I was in and out for a very long time of, like, okay, I'd go back to church, and then something would happen, and I had, like, a lot of anger and hate towards God because I worked my entire life to get to playing Div 1, and then I felt like he took it away from me because I didn't have the understanding that, like, the Lord doesn't take those things away, or the Lord is, like, for us, he's not against us, and, like, bad things in life are gonna happen, and I just did not have that perception and the understanding of, like, who God's character actually was, so I was mad at him. And then, I guess I kinda fast forward to my final year of college, I found out I had Lyme disease, and I found out I had Lyme disease, like, right well, the day I graduated, actually, I found out I had it, and that for me was another thing that just kinda, like, shook my world because I didn't really know what Lyme disease meant. I didn't understand how, severe that, like, the treatment was gonna be. I didn't understand that the next year of my life would be me pretty much lying in bed, not able to move because I was so sick, and it also was a little bit of, like, sense of hope, I guess, because I had been sick for such a long time, like, in college, I was getting these crazy episodes where, like, my face would start drooping, I couldn't speak, my arm would go numb, and they were essentially just, like, stroke symptoms, and I was running through, like, all these tests, the doctors didn't know what was wrong with me, I just felt like there was no hope, I felt crazy because everyone's like, "Your tests are normal, but you're getting all these crazy things happen to you," and it was just like, I didn't know, like, I was always sick, and it never made sense as to why, so yeah, I found that out. And then during that time, I was like just going through treatment. I was super like on the edge with God because I'd still like I just held so much like anger in my heart. And I kind of just like kept that. I wasn't reading my Bible. Every once in a while I would go to church. And then that summer after I graduated college, I ended up moving to Toronto. And when I moved to Toronto, I was signed with the modeling agency out there. And from that agency, I actually got signed in Europe. And so I ended up going to Milan for Fashion Week. And I was still super sick with Lyme. Like I was pretty much just like going into my castings and then going to bed like after that. But it was really crazy because that was like one of the turning points and breaking points I feel like in my life because I was doing all these things like I was signed in Italy, I was walking in Fashion Week, I was living the dream by the world standards, yet like I was the most broken I have ever been. Like, I remember just crying and, like, I just at one point started just crying out to God, and I didn't even know why because I wasn't ever, like, really taking that relationship that seriously, and I, for the first time in my life, was just, like, going and opening up my Bible. I remember going to a coffee shop, and I was so lonely, and I just opened up my Bible every single day, and I just wept in a coffee shop in Italy by myself for hours on end, and I just, like, felt the presence of the Lord come over me in a way that I've never felt before, and I felt him just start to like give me hope. Like I haven't had hope in a really long time. I really thought that I was never going to be better. I thought that I never was going to feel yeah, better from this sickness. Like I really thought that this was going to be my entire life. So he just started to fill those voids and yeah, so I just started opening my Bible every single day. I started journaling, and the Lord just started to fill me with a lot of hope. And then I came back from Italy and I ended up moving back home. And then I fell back into that same cycle of like, okay, I now have to move home because I didn't want to move home. I was supposed to go on like another modeling stay somewhere else in the world, but I was so sick, so I wasn't able to do it. And so I was kind of fell back in that cycle of like, hey, I'm mad at God because he took away something from me that was supposed to happen and now I don't want anything to do with them. So that was kind of where I was at again with my relationship with the Lord. And then January of 2024, so literally last year, I ended up going to LA for like a month and a half. And I went there with my friend, and like for the first time ever, like I had just felt like this dark presence of LA. I know a lot of people talk about that like LA is super dark and there's like that industry is dark. And I heard it, but I never felt it. And I think that was the first time in my life that I have ever been like, whoa, like there is something here that is super dark. It's fighting against me and it wants to take me down. And I didn't know what that was. And I was just like, it was kind of like a wake up call. And it was just, I don't know, it was like something flipped in my brain. And I was like, okay, like it's time for me to lock in with God. And then from that day, I got back from LA. I just started reading my Bible every single day. And God just started to like rapidly start changing my life. I started to go through a lot of forgiveness. The Lord started to heal my heart of so many different things. He mended that relationship and the perception that I had of him, which was like so backwards and so false, of just that he isn't for me, that everything that was bad that was happening to me was because of God. And when really like he flipped that in my brain of like understanding his character, his love, his joy, his peace, his patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control, like the fruits of the spirits just really started to be edified and explained in my life. And I was able just to start seeing like God, his hand, and what his plan was for my life. And he, yeah, just rapidly started changing everything. He started changing my family. He started leading me to like different players around the world. He healed me of my Lyme disease, which was the craziest thing. I was on a trip to Bali, and he it was crazy. So he like promised me healing, and then I woke up one morning in Bali and I was by myself. I ended up like staying a little bit longer on the trip. And I woke up and I just felt like the Lord told me I was gonna be healed. I didn't know what that meant. I was just like, "Okay, cool." And then fast forward to that night, I'm just like in my quiet time, sitting with the Lord, and I literally just felt like the presence of God come over me like a blanket. It felt like a weighted blanket was being like lied down on me, and I just kept hearing like Lyme, 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 and then I heard healing, 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 and I just felt like if I was to open my eyes, like I couldn't see anything besides just the room I was in, but like I knew like Jesus was sitting in front of me. It was like the weirdest, like crazy spiritual experience I can't even describe, but I just felt like something like touched my leg. And in that moment, I felt like darkness leave and light enter my body. And I just knew like that, like it felt like a switch, like the line was completely gone from my body. And obviously I had no like testing or anything to tell, but I just knew like when you're touched by the presence of God in a miraculously healing way, you just know like there's no you're just not going to question it, because it's like what the heck just happened, I can't even describe it. And yeah, so I was like, okay, I know I'm healed from Lyme. Like, we just could not get it together. I was obviously uncontrollably like sobbing, so thankful. But then in the next morning when I woke up, that like this like completely confirmed it. Was so I used to get like super, super sick, sitting in the sun with Lyme disease. It's just like one of the side effects from Lyme. And then the following day, it was super sunny, which was also like interesting because we hadn't seen the sun a single day. Like it had literally not been sunny the whole time we were in Bali. And then the day after I was healed, I sat out in the sun for 9 hours and I was like completely fine. I wasn't sick. I haven't been able to do that in like 5 years prior to me getting Lyme. So it was just like such a confirmation. And also like my gluten allergy went away that day, which was crazy because that was another like symptom of Lyme. And yeah, from that moment, like he's just continued to do the crazy good work in my life. Like he opened up the door for me to get a visa, which is really hard to do. I'm 23, and the type of visa I get is typically for people who are like a lot older. And God just completely swung open that door. I was able to move to New York City, is where he kind of led me. And yeah, he's just connected me with so many people in New York. He has planted me in a church super quickly. He's just continuing to strengthen my heart to, yeah, just change my life. And I'm just so blessed to be where I'm at in my relationship with the God now, and just see how good and faithful and how much he really is for us and not against us. And like the second you like lock in with God, like whatever you give to him, he's going to give you back like times 20, because he's pursuing you even when you don't want to pursue him at all. So the moment like you do somewhat pursue God, like your life will just rapidly change in the craziest ways. And it might not be in like crazy miraculous healing, but it will be in like healing in your heart. Like that is a guarantee. Jesus will fill your void. He'll fill your identity, fill your soul, in ways that you can't even describe. And just like the joy and the peace and the love that I've like been searching for is just, it's so stable, because you know that your like identity is in Jesus Christ, and like he is forever. Like he is not going anywhere. And that is such a difference from like seeking the world, because every time you seek the world, it's always going to abandon you in some way, shape, or form. Like it's never going to fill you up completely. So to be able to be so secure in like your relationship with the Lord, you just feel this like sense of peace, because it's like he is not going anywhere. And it's so crazy and such a amazing thing to be a part of. It's just like the free gift that just keeps on giving. So yeah.
No, that was so beautiful. Your testimony, it really, well, we thank God that you were healed from Lyme disease. And you know what? Sometimes you just, even that little confirmation of you seeing the sun the next day was
Mhm.
just wild, because I know for a lot of people that it's just, I don't even know. Your testimony is just so beautiful. Your testimony is just so beautiful. And just seeing that, you know what, God did work in miraculous ways. And I know for a lot of people that's been going to church all their lives, we were like, oh, we already know God. Like, we're good. And I've been to church all my life and I thought, oh, I'm good. I really, I didn't care at the time. And, it's so funny. I like just knowing that God saved me the way He did. And it's like
Mhm.
this past year of 2024. Cause I was like, God, I you did not want me going into college. I mean, I've been in college for like 2 years, but he did not want me partying, smoking, drinking. He was like,
Yeah.
no. He's like, I have better for her, and it's not there. So it's just amazing seeing how God works in His small, miraculous ways. And for you, it was huge. And just knowing that you are right when you said when you pursue God just even a little bit, that the miraculous stuff that will happen are just incredible. Because also for me, I started 2024. I started pursuing God just like bit by bit, and then I got in here. I've gotten here with you and so many other amazing women and men of God, and just seeing that just not even just even looking for God is just good enough for Him. He's like, you know what? The fact that you're actively looking for me means the world to Him, and the fact that you're always trying to mention Him and you're always trying to look for Him, I feel like that's also His love language. Like there's no better love language that He can have than just you trying to be on Him and trying to say, you know what, God, I want to be with you. I want to be for you, and it warms His heart every single time. And
Mhm.
just like hearing your story about how you've literally been getting sick like for a good chunk of your life, and the fact that you're not getting sick anymore. I mean, of course, like the common cold and whatever, but apart from that, you haven't been getting sick anymore. I know COVID for a lot of us was crazy. I remember when I got COVID, I was like telling my mom, I was like, oh my god, what if I die? Like,
Right.
and I was in high school at the time, so I was like, Mom, I'm gonna get COVID, and I was the only one that got COVID. I remember that I was the only one that got COVID in my group of like 7, 8 friends. And I was like,
Mm.
God, why did I get COVID and nobody else got COVID? I said, there is no way that I'm the only one that got COVID. I was like,
Yeah.
dang, God, like, why me? Like, come on. And then
Mhm.
I realized that, you know what? I was the strongest. He knew that I could come through and I could prevail from it. And it was also a time for him to show me, like, you know what? It's like that, you know what, Renee? I'm God. I'm here. I'm the one in control of your life. And it's just seeing that God works in little miraculous ways. And He's kept you up this far. And I'm so happy for you moving to New York and
Thank
whatever
you.
adventures He has for you. So I don't know what else you have planned for us or whatever else you have to tell us. Is there anything else you have to tell us?
I think something just like sparked in my brain when you were talking about like or getting COVID and you're like, God, why me? Like, and all the things adding up. And that's like literally the mindset I used to have too of just like little things would happen or big things would happen. Like, God, like, why are you doing this to me? And I always just had this perception of like God is trying to punish me, or like I would do something and yeah, everything was just like a punishment. Whether I was doing something good or bad, like it felt like the Lord was punishing me. And that has been one of the biggest like flips in my brain this year. And he led me to like Hebrews 12 verse 6 and 7. For the Lord disciplines those whom He loves and chastise every children whom he accepts. Endure trials for the sake of discipline. God is treating you as children. For what child is there a parent who does not discipline? And that I've really started to take into heart, because it's like I don't know, I used to wanna, like, run around with, like, we have, like, free will, right? So we're able to do, like, the things we wanna do, but God's sitting here like, "No, I'm allowing these trials, I'm allowing these things to happen in your life so you can actually grow closer to me. I'm trying to teach you and stretch your faith in a way that you will start living righteously." And the only way that we can ever do that is to endure trials and suffering, because if things were good all the time, then how are we supposed to look back and see the glory of God? And that it like was kind of a hard thing for me to accept at first, but now I'm able to see like how much joy there really is in the suffering. Like there's things that are going around me every single day. Like I'm up against trials every day because that's just part of life, but it's like how do you steward through, or how do you steward joy when you're going through all these trials and tribulations? And I really just see it now as like dang, like God loves me this much to put me through a trial so that I can grow closer to him and be in forever love with him. And I feel like when you can have that like just shift in your brain, like you just get so much more joy because like things in life are gonna happen. Like there is no way around that. There is, yes, something like literally trying to take you out, and we have free will. So people are gonna upset you, they're gonna hurt you, whatever it may be. But yeah, when you start to understand like God's not the one inflicting these trials on you, and he actually wants to help you through them and like walk you through every single phase of that, it's like dang, like he's so good. And it's wild to see the difference, and like I just really see how the Lord like really pulls us out of the thought patterns of the world and then puts in a whole different one. And that's really just what the whole Bible is like deconstructing that.
You know, you are right. And I think that could even be the title for this episode, Joy in the Suffering. And just seeing
Mhm,
that, you know what, that just having God being the limelight of everything, and even when we go through the most dark and gruesome things, he's always there. And you know, I remember I'd always think like, you know what, God, if you're how can you be there for us and we're still suffering and you're watching us suffer? And I know for a lot of people that's like their question. And it's like, you know what? Honestly, there's a lot of things that happen in this world. Like we are supposed to go through trials and tribulations. But even some certain trials and tribulation, God allows them so that He's
mhm,
like, I'm gonna show you who I am, and I need you to come towards me because there's no way that, you know what, you as a human being, we can solve a lot of things by your like ourselves. Like for example, you had Lyme disease, there was no way you can like humanely cure your own self unless it
mhm,
was through the power and the grace by God. Even if it was with all the medication in the world, just even you sitting in that room in Bali, it was God coming onto you and He healed you from that. And you didn't need no confirmation from the doctors. You're like, nah, I'm good. I'm
mhm.
healed. I'm
Okay.
taking
I
God's
did
word.
actually get tested though for like the
But
skeptics
yeah,
out there. We were free. I came back,
we're
got
good. You're
tested,
good.
0 Lyme.
But you're just like after that, like just hearing like you're healed is just like crazy. Just even experiencing what you experienced, that's just it was just so beautiful. And I think just seeing God in everybody else's walk is just so different because you know what? It's everybody's story is different, but it's the same living and true God that still
Mhm,
exists in everybody's life. And he never seems to change at all. He will never switch up on us. And that's like one thing I always realize that, you know what? As much as everybody goes through their own situations, whether mine's is worse than yours and yours is worse than mine, it's just saying that God is the same. He carries all fruits of the spirits. He's never changed and he never will change, and that's the best part about it. And yeah, I did want to ask you what were or what are your favorite verse or verses that carry you through your times.
Whew, there's so many. I'm trying to think of like what would be. I think probably like for my last like season of life, I'll give two. Okay, so like for the last season of life, for the suffering, it's in the same like Hebrews. It's Hebrews 12. Verse 12 and 13, which is therefore lift your drooping hands and strengthen your weak knees and make straight paths for your feet. So what is lame may not be put out of joint, but rather healed. Um, I think it's so beautiful because it just gives me a really like vivid illustration of like I just see it like someone literally just sitting down, not able to get up. Um, and just like so tired. And the Lord, I just feel like I just see like a string and the Lord like picking you up and plopping you like on your feet, and is like it's like not like a puppet master but like almost, and like where you're walking, and he's just like guiding one foot in front of the other, and you're walking on like a path to healing. Like that's just the way I see it in my brain. So I feel like that's a really beautiful verse that will can describe like a tough season. And then I also think another one is Romans 5 verse 8. 5 verse 8. But God proves his love for us in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. And that's it. It's like super simple, but it's just yeah, I don't know, it shows God's love. Like he literally did the ultimate sacrifice. So we're dead in our transgressions, and like the Lord just picks us up and he loves us so much that yeah, he sends his only son. It's crazy. It just blows my mind. So it's simple, but like that's it.
For me, and also I think it also amazes me so much because I'm just like, you know what, God, you could have gave us like you could have had so many sons, but you just chose. You're like, no, this is the one, and this is the one I'm
Mhm.
gonna send. and we're gonna like, and he waited. And the thing is, like, prophets knew about Jesus, prophets knew about the Messiah, but he didn't give them, like, he didn't give us Jesus at that time. He had to wait for the right time, and he's like, yes, this is the right time. My son knows what to do. My son is gonna be familiar with who I am. And it's
Mhm.
just crazy that I just think about it. I'm just like, damn, like, Jesus was really meant to just live and die in those 30 some years, like 30 something years. I'm like, that's a really short life. Like, come on. Like, nobody. But the thing is, that's the way it was meant to happen. Jesus knew that
Yeah.
that was his purpose, was to live for us, but then to die for our sins and to live
Mhm.
for the Father, and also to teach us who God is and teach us our relationship. And then after, we just got the Holy Spirit right after. So it's just, it's crazy. I think every time I think about it, and then people, I remember one day, so a friend of me asked me, "Oh, because it was a Thursday, and I was like going to work, and then after work I had to go to church, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to church." And she said, Why do you like going to church?" And
Mhm.
then I'm telling you, I was like, I just love it. And I like that, that's all I could say. I was like, I just love going to church. I was like, there's
Yeah.
no other way to explain it. And it's just like, when I said like I love, the warmness I felt was like so crazy, because I'm like, oh my God, like, y'all, like, like, someone really just asked me why I love going to church. I was like, and I had like the biggest smile on my face, and I'm always smiling. But it was just like, when I said I love, I was so warm inside, and I
Mhm.
was just like, I just love going to church. I just love God. Like, I don't think anybody could ever, like, I can't even explain it. It's just, for like,
Yeah.
everybody has to experience it for themselves. Everybody has to feel it for themselves. That this love is just like, it makes you feel butterflies. Like, it just makes you feel
It's
butterflies.
crazy. No,
It
it's literally so crazy.
is. It is.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I was always like searching for love in my life, and there was moments where I was like, okay, like I don't know if I ever like fell in love, but like the moment I met Jesus, I was like, this is what love is supposed to feel like, and it literally like overflows you, and like you're never gonna find it in another person, like you're just not. And the way the Lord's love like comes on you, it's like, yeah, there's no other way to describe it, but like you can see it, you can visibly see it. It's like a thing that comes from the inside out, and it just fulfills you in the craziest ways. Like you can't even describe. That's the crazy thing about, I feel like, a relationship with God. Sometimes it's like I have one word to describe it, and it's like love, joy. And like you're just gonna have to like feel it for yourself, because it really is that. It's so crazy. It just, yeah,
It
one
is.
word.
It is. I'm telling you, it's not even, it's like literally all the fruits of the spirit combined in one thing. I don't even
Mhm.
know what to explain, but yeah, that's literally just what loving God is all about. And just seeing
Mhm.
that, like we argued this out of this episode, joy in the suffering, and just having him being the joy and being the light in everything that we go through. Because the thing is, we don't know how long we're gonna live on this earth. And the thing is, there's a lot of things that can go on the times we are alive. And just
Mhm.
knowing that, you know what, even though we are alive and we go through all these things and these trials and these tribulations, and just knowing that, like, you cannot replace God. Replacing the joy and putting in anxiety, depression, and all these other stuff is just replacing God. And it's just
Mhm.
exactly what the world wants you to do. The world wants you to go through all these stuff, and the world wants you to experience all these negative connotations that are not of God, so that you can replace them. But just knowing that God is the joy, that the fact that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, that is God. That's literally all that is. And I know I did want to ask you, do you have anything you want to tell us, or anything you want to spill to us, give us some little limelight on before we close the episode?
Um, Yeah, I'd say like if you don't know how to get to know God, like read your Bible. Like opening your Bible for yourself will change your life. And like a podcast is not a Bible. Podcasts are great. Do not get me
Mm-hmm.
wrong. I love a good podcast, but if you're not like opening up the physical word for yourself, you won't know who Jesus is, because you have to get to know Jesus to fully understand like God's character. So yeah, I say read the Gospels if you have never like opened up your Bible before, and start there, because you get to know who Jesus is. You get to know how to just like see how we're supposed to live. And it'll like really bring Christianity to life. Like it's going to be so much more than just like words on a paper. It'll literally like bring. You'll start to see God throughout the world and like how you can apply everything and how this word is like alive and living and in the now.
Yeah, I really love that. Yeah, you are right. Like, podcasts are great and they're good. I would say they're good instructions and good things to help you carry along the way and put in like your backpack.
Right.
But it is true, like as much as we do have this Bible study podcast, I do have to start encouraging everyone to start like, read the Bible for yourself. You have to always experience God in your own way and in your own walk, and nobody's walk is ever the same, and nobody's walk will ever be the same because we're all
Mhm.
different people. We go through all different things. God knows us inside and out. All of us have different, very characters and emotions. So it's the thing is that, God knows us better than we know ourselves. And he
Mhm.
wants to know all of us better than we know our own selves. Because the thing is, we don't even fully know our own selves. We really
Right.
don't. We don't. The only person that does know us is God. So it's just
Mhm.
beautiful seeing that. And yeah, I'm really so thankful for you coming on here today. And I'm just so happy just having you speak and say what you had to say. And yeah, I think we're on a close. Are we on a close?
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you so much
All
for having me. This
right.
was a fun time.
Well, everyone, I want to thank you for coming on here today. I want to thank you again for coming on here. And I just want to say, everyone, have an amazing, blessed day, whether it's morning, noon, or night. Just know God loves you. We love you. And yeah, that's really it. Bye, everyone.
Bye.